Hi children, how are you? I hope you are doing good. And by the way, this is Saujanya. Welcome to E. And today our topic is surface areas and volumes, class 9, chapter 13. Children, before getting into the surface areas and volumes, first let's see what are the plane figures and what are the solid figures. Children, here you can see that some of the plane figures called rectangle, circle, square, triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, all these are called plane figures. And what about solid figures? When it is coming to the solid figures, it is very interesting to know how the solid figures are formed. Children, you can form the solid figures by cutting the many number of these plane figures of same size and shape and place them in a vertical pile, then you can obtain the solid figures. Children, you see here you have a stack of pile of same size and shape of rectangular pages. So all these are rectangular pages we placed on one another, and we have formed a three-dimensional shape called cuboid. Children, and here also this is the plane figure called circle, and stack of pile of same size and shape of circular shapes. We have placed them in a vertical pile and we have obtained a solid figure called cylinder. And this is how we can form them solid figures. And children, if coming to the difference between the solid figures and plane figures, children, here these plane figures have only two dimensional called length and breadth, and this is have only one surface. Here this is have only one surface. On all the edges of these plane figures we can draw and explain them easily. And whereas coming to the solid figures, here in addition to the length and breadth, here we have one more dimension called height. All the solid figures have length, breadth and height as their dimensions, and also these solid figures have formed surrounded by many planes. That means this is one plane and this is one plane, and this is surround all the solid figures are surrounded by many planes or surfaces. These are also called surfaces, outer surfaces or faces. These are also called faces. What we can see outside are all the outer surfaces are called faces. And coming to the two-dimensional and three-dimensional figures, these three-dimensional figures we couldn't see all the faces of a cuboid at a time. And here are some of the differences between the two-dimensional shape and three-dimensional shape. If a shape is surrounded by three or more straight lines in a plane, suppose this is a square and this is surrounded by four straight lines, and whereas this is a triangle, this is also a plane figure and this is surrounded by three straight lines. All the two-dimensional shapes can be drawn on the paper and all the edges of these two-dimensional figures can be seen. And if a shape is surrounded by a number of surface planes, then it is called a 3D shape. Children, here you can see this cotton box is an example of cuboid, and this is surrounded by many planes. This is one plane and this is another plane and this is another plane of rectangular sheet. And we couldn't see all the six faces of a cuboid at a time because it is a three-dimensional shape. These three-dimensional shapes, all the faces we couldn't see at a time, and these shapes have no depth or height. Coming to the two-dimensional figures, these figures don't have any height, but it is having two dimensions called length and breadth. Whereas coming to the three-dimensional shapes, unlike 2D, they have height or depth. Here, in addition to length and breadth, this three-dimensional figure have added a one more dimension called height. This is called height of the three-dimensional figure. And these shapes have only two-dimensional shape, length and breadth. These are called three-dimensional as they have depth, breadth and length. We can measure their area and perimeter. Coming to the two-dimensional, we can measure only area and perimeter of these two-dimensional figures. And coming to the three-dimensional figures, we can measure their volume. CSA means curved surface area and LSA means lateral surface area and TSA means total surface area. This is called total surface area. And children, here are some of the examples of three-dimensional figures. Here, this is a dice and this dice is an example of three-dimensional figure called cube, and this cube is made up of six square faces. Here these are called faces. This is formed of six square faces whose length, breadth and height are equal. Coming to the cube, all the length and breadth and height are equal. And here is a cracker, and this is an example of three-dimensional figure called cone, and this is formed of two faces, which one face is curved surface and another face is this is curved surface and another one is conical surface. And this sprite can is an example of cylindrical shape, three-dimensional shape called cylindrical shape, and this cylindrical shape is formed of three faces called one is rectangular surface and the base and top are the curved surfaces. And coming to the cuboid, here let's see how the cuboid look like. Here is the example of cuboid. This box looks like a cuboid. And here we can see all the faces of the cuboid. But this cuboid is made up of six rectangular planes of different sizes. In cuboid, the length, breadth and height may not be equal. And children, here are some of the formulas for different two-dimensional geometric shapes, and please go through all these formulas. This we can use in our later sessions to find out the surface areas and volumes of the three-dimensional figures. So children, please go through all the formulas of these two-dimensional areas and perimeter of two-dimensional figures. And this is about solid figures and plane figures, and in our later session we'll discuss about surface areas and volumes of the three-dimensional figures. Children, this is about today, and if you have any queries, please comment on the comment section. Please do share, subscribe and like. Thank you children.